AI is going to change the photography industry in ways we haven't even dreamt of yet. Let's talk about that. Thanks for joining me. I think that artificial intelligence is going to change our world in ways we can't even imagine yet. Some have said it'll change, it'll impact the world like the creation of the internet did. I think it's going to be bigger than that. I think it's going to be more like the reinvention of the wheel. I think we're going to see changes in our society that are just amazing and unimaginable. Some good, some bad. But let's talk about how it's likely to impact the photography industry. And I know there's already some use of AI in photo editing and in some photography uses. It's already impacting us. So I decided to go to kind of the resident expert on AI, and I logged into ChatGPT, and I asked it how AI would impact the photography industry. And so it came up with some really interesting points. And I'm not going to read it verbatim because A, it's kind of long, and B, I'd probably be creating some kind of copyright strike by doing that. But let me hit on some of the points that it brought up. The first one, and we're already seeing this, is automated editing, where programs can clean up images and correct things in images without us really having to do a whole lot. I mean, some of the editing programs we already have are pretty amazing. And so, we'll put that in the plus column. That's a great thing for photography. Learning how to edit photos is got a pretty long learning curve, and being able to automate that somewhat and do it really well is really great. And that kind of also brings into play the idea of image restoration. So the restoration of old images, antique photos and stuff that we copy, and then we can have artificial intelligence clean those up and reconstruct things that are in the image that for us to try to do by hand would be much more difficult. So I think there's some really positive benefits in that way. Another thing we're going to start to see more and more of is image recognition, and not just facial recognition, but actual recognition of images. It won't really maybe impact the photography industry as much, but image recognition is certainly something that's going to be part of that. The other thing are cameras. Right now, some of these cameras have some pretty amazing features, but as artificial intelligence improves, and obviously we're probably going to first start to see it in cell phones and in more high-end cameras, but artificial intelligence is going to increasingly be used to automate exposure, to at least assist or aid in composition. And there's all kinds of things that it can do in a camera to make photography a little bit easier. I think some of the tools that are available are for it to be able to recognize what's in an image and make compositional suggestions, things like that. There's going to be tools that are available in cameras that we can kind of imagine now, but there'll be some things we haven't even imagined yet will show up. So the other thing is computational photography. Computational photography is kind of a subject unto its own, where, and I'm not sure I really understand it completely, but I know it has to do with the processing of multiple images and combining them to create high quality photos. So, let's say an AI program could go out on the internet and grab multiple images of something that somebody's asked it for, and it can then create an image based on those things. So there's a lot of that can be done, and we start to get into that realm of the AI program actually being the creator instead of a person, and so that's kind of a thing. I think even we start to get into that world of content creation where AI can actually create imagery. So let's say you're an art director and you work for an ad agency and you need a product shot of some new product. So you take a few snaps with your cell phone of this new product, you tell the software what you want it to create, and then it creates the product photography with the backgrounds you want and any other lighting effects you want. And it can do all that, and so then the need for a product photographer kind of goes away. And that's where we start to look at how is it going to impact photography as a business. certain types of photography are probably pretty safe. You know, wedding photographers, you got to be at the wedding, you got to shoot the wedding to get wedding photos. There's some things like that you know, you just have to be there. You know, like if you shoot swimsuit models, I mean, maybe there's a certain part of that AI could create, but if you want real action shots of swimsuits, sports photography, those kind of things I think are pretty safe, and may even be enhanced by AI capable cameras that help you capture images. But some types of photography may just kind of go away, especially in the business world of like product photography, you know, like creating still lifes. You know, there's all kinds of photography that I think using computational photography, AI will be able to create images for, you know, for an ad agency or whatever that right now we rely on people to do. And that could even include, you know, you don't need a model to model a new fashion line or whatever, or to create ads for a or for a catalog or online. You know, you just snap pictures of the new outfits or whatever, and you know, AI can then put a face with it that looks nice and a body and create ads and, you know, sell your product without the need to hire models, without the need to hire a photographer to shoot those models. There's going to be impacts we can't even really imagine yet. So, you know, I think as cameras change and improve, the kind of cameras that we're selling and the people that are buying them may change somewhat. For those people like myself that photography is a hobby, you know, I hope they'll continue to be, you know, quality cameras at affordable prices that we can use to capture the imagery we like to capture. I'm hoping that will continue, but there's every possibility that those things will change over time. And I think there's every likelihood that the photography business as a whole is going to change significantly. So, you know, if you make your living in photography, depending on what you do, you may be impacted. And this was probably going to happen sooner than you would think. I mean, think about it. If you're a landscape photographer and, you know, people want to create landscape imagery, it will be very easy for an AI program to do that. You know, it can, using computational photography, it can go out and collect images or parts of images from an area that it finds online, and then, you know, use that to create, you know, the final product. And it can do that amazingly well. So AI is going to definitely impact the photography business in a great way. So I think that you know, moving forward, you know, if you make your living with photography, you really need to be thinking about how this may impact your life, how it's going to impact your work. You know, what is that going to mean to you? And you know, for all of us, depending on the jobs we have, AI is going to take over a lot of jobs. How that's going to impact our society, kind of hard to say. For the photography industry, though, I think we're going to see some improvements in equipment and software and some of those kind of things. Those will probably happen at first. But then we're also going to start to see jobs go away, and we're going to see, you know, content being created by AI instead of manually by taking pictures. So there's going to be changes. So, you know, I think for us as a society, I love shooting downtown, but it's so noisy here sometimes. Maybe AI can fix that. So, you know, we as a society, I think we have to really start thinking about how this is going to impact our lives and start preparing for that. You know, if you have a job that you believe might be replaced with AI, you have to start thinking about what else you can do for a living, or how you can change the way you do your work so that you're not impacted as greatly. So maybe there's some good news and there's some scary news. And right now there's a lot of unknowns. But over time, we're going to see some changes. There's no question of that. Well, thanks for joining me. If you have any thoughts or comments on this subject, I would love to hear from you. Please don't hesitate to leave me a comment. And as always, thanks for watching.